unmatched training in over 150 careers beyond the battlefield, there are over 150 surprising ways to become Army strong. Talk to your son or daughter about opportunities in the Army.
Well, we continue to track Hurricane Gonzalo now impacting Bermuda. Let's get you updated on the storm's strength right now and also where it's located. It continues to center to get closer and closer to Bermuda. It is within 50 miles right now. In fact, you can take a look. Again, as of 5 o'clock, it was still 50 miles southwest of Bermuda, and the wind's still 115 miles per hour. That is a Category 3 hurricane. It's a major hurricane, and it's going to hit, like hitting a needle in a haystack here, hit Bermuda. Right now, we're not seeing some reporting stations like Devon Heights, but the airport is still reporting a 45 to 55 mile per hour sustained wind, and we already had hurricane force wind gusts reported the last couple of hours as well. But take a look at this. Yeah, Bermuda is no stranger to major hurricanes, talking about a Category 3 or stronger. Since 1899, 10 Category 3 hurricanes or stronger have come within 75 miles of this island. And yeah, it is definitely like hitting the bullseye from space. So yeah, the last one was actually 2003, and that's Hurricane Fabian. And it came pretty close. That was a Category 3. A lot of people still talk about that. But also, take a look at this. It passed just west of Bermuda, winds 120 miles per hour sustained. There was an estimation there because they couldn't record it. The recording device broke because of the winds. And then waves on the south side of the island estimated at 20 to 30 feet waves here. And the property damage estimated at $300 million. And this is what Hurricane Fabian looked like in 2003. The storm was so strong the name was actually retired. And as Dave Schwartz shows us, it looks like Fabian and now Gonzalo are sharing some dangerous similarities.
With Category 3 strength winds, a 10-foot storm surge, and $300 million worth of damage. Hurricane Fabian in 2003 was the worst storm to hit Bermuda since the 1920s. Fast forward 11 years, and Bermuda could be in for a big hit again.
We think that Gonzalo has the potential to be very similar to Hurricane Fabian.
That inner core of strongest winds.
Wind speed could be very similar in this case. The top wind speeds were estimated in the case of Fabian because it actually knocked out the anemometer at the airport, but we think they were about 120 miles per hour, gusting to about 150 miles per hour. This storm is similarly very, very strong. It's probably not going to lose much as it makes landfall or gets close to making landfall, and so we could be talking about a similar intensity and therefore very similar impacts.
Impacts that left 4 people dead in Bermuda and left the island in shambles.
If the storm does in fact pass just west of the island, and we think there's a very good chance that it will, we're talking about tremendous impacts in terms of wind damage, structural damage, a lot of damage to vegetation on the island. Wave heights could be 20 to 30 feet. There could be a surge of maybe 10 feet, especially on the south side of the island, and that is what caused a lot of the damage in 2003.
With Fabian and Gonzalo following similar paths just 11 years apart, the hope is that many will remember how dangerous a hurricane can be.
There's no doubt that this is fresh in their minds. They're a little better prepared. They're thinking about what they need to do based on what they went through not that long ago. So I think hopefully we're going to be a little bit better off this time around.
Dave Schwartz, The Weather Channel.
Hey, and get this, just 5 days ago, you may remember Bermuda was actually hit by a tropical storm Faye, and this is what it looked like on Sunday morning. Now, Faye and Gonzalo are the closest back-to-back tropical cyclones to come within 75 miles of Bermuda on record. It's not the only time that 2 tropical systems impacted Bermuda on the same week. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. Take it back to 1981. We had Tropical Storm Emily as well as Hurricane Floyd both come within 75 miles of Bermuda back in 1981. Although this year, we could actually see a new history being recorded here because we had Faye that hit just a couple of days ago. And now we're dealing with Gonzalo, perhaps also making a direct hit. And by the way, Tropical Storm Faye did make a direct hit on Bermuda on Sunday. And now, again, Gonzalo continues to get closer and closer, probably going to make a direct hit or perhaps a very close near miss. This will be the first time ever this has happened, having 2 landfalls of a storm and a hurricane into Bermuda on recorded history. More on Gonzalo coming up after this.
Cooper engineers its tires, not just for performance, but real-life performance. So before you get in, get going. Get gone. You need to get a tire that gets you, because life's a road trip. Come on, let's go. Buy 4 qualifying Cooper tires and get up to a $70 prepaid card by mail. See retailer for details.
Oh, no.
Who are you?
Daddy, this is Blair. He booked this room with Priceline Express deals and saved a ton.
I got everything I wanted. I always do.
You seem nice.
Sunday nights.
When the wind blows.
The Weather Channel unravels nature's darkest secrets.
I saw something. I don't know how to explain it.
Every Sunday.
It's a story that's got a life of its own.
A new tale of weather legend.
It may have just looked like a storm, but they were dealing with something far worse.
American Supernatural. Sunday nights at 10 on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 81 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, mostly clear, low 66. Winds light and variable. Saturday, generally sunny, high 84. Here's our 7-day outlook.
My name's Louie and I quit smoking with Chantix. I had tried to do in the past, I hadn't been successful. Quitting smoking this time was different because I talked to my doctor and I got a prescription for Chantix.
Along with support, Chantix Varenicline is proven to help people quit smoking.
It was important to me that Chantix was a non-nicotine pill. The fact that it reduced the urge to smoke helped me get that confidence that I could do it.
Some people had changes in behavior, thinking or mood, hostility, agitation, depressed mood, and suicidal thoughts or actions while taking or after stopping Chantix. If you notice any of these, stop Chantix and call your doctor right away. Tell your doctor about any history of mental health problems, which could get worse while taking Chantix. Don't take Chantix if you've had a serious allergic or skin reaction to it. If you develop these, stop Chantix and see your doctor right away, as some can be life-threatening. Tell your doctor if you have a history of heart or blood vessel problems, or if you develop new or worse symptoms. Get medical help right away if you have symptoms of a heart attack or stroke. Use caution when driving or operating machinery. Common side effects include nausea, trouble sleeping, and unusual dreams.
I'm very proud. I love myself as a non-smoker.
Ask your doctor if Chantix is right for you.
At Ancestry, we call it a hint. Our little leaf that helps guide you through the past. Simply type in a name, and you're taken on a journey. A journey that crosses generations and continents. All to tell the most amazing story. Yours. Discover your story. Start searching for free now at Ancestry.com.
The more you learn about your insurance, the more gaps you may find. Like how you thought you were covered for this, when you're really only covered for this. Talk to farmers and get smarter about your insurance.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Apples are good. A Strongbow hard cider, better. But Strongbow over ice is the best. Enjoying Strongbow over ice with your slow-motion horse, the bestest. Strongbow, world's #1 hard cider.
I take pride of Setco TC each morning for my frequent heartburn, because it gives me 0 heartburn.
What are your neighbors doing?
Oh, are they gyrating?
Yeah?
Yeah. That's the no rain dance. They don't have Xfinity, so bad weather interferes with their satellite service.
It's a no rain dance. Wow.
You should see them on game days.
It looks like fun.
It's not.
Don't settle for outdated satellite. Get reliable TV service rain or shine with Xfinity.
Get luxury for less at Alpacker Lincoln. Enjoy incredible savings on Lincoln's best-selling models, like the new 2015 Lincoln MKZ, just $299 a month, or a 2014 Lincoln MKS, just $379 a month. Enjoy luxury for less with bottom-line windshield pricing. Only at Alpacker Lincoln on Military Trail. And remember,
before you buy, Price Packer.
50% with 5 screenings for $149. Call now at 800-393-7147.
Every Monday night this fall.
What is it that produces these things?
The Weather Channel unlocks the secrets of the Earth. An all-new season starts Monday night at 9 on the Weather Channel.
Welcome back. It's 53 past the hour. Hurricane Specialist Michael Lowry here with the very latest on Hurricane Gonzalo. This is a Category 3 hurricane within hours of that eye, that cloud-free or rain-free area moving right over the island of Bermuda. Now, Bermuda is up in here, okay, and this is a radar out of Bermuda. It's about 50 to, say, 40 miles from Bermuda, at least the core of the system. This is the eye portion. I think the center of it, likely up in here somewhere. You can see this heavy, heavy rain band that's just now moving in to Bermuda, and we're getting some really, really incredible wind reports. The south part of the island, wind gusts to 110 miles per hour at Commissioner's Point, 83 sustained there. In fact, we have some video from there, and Becky, if we can pull that up, I want to show folks at home what this looks like. Earlier today, you could actually see what was happening, but right now, almost whiteout conditions like you would expect in a snowstorm. It's really hard to make out where we're looking, but look at the bottom left part of my screen here. You can see this palm tree. You can see the frond of the tree. It's blowing in that direction. It's telling me that we're looking out over the ocean toward the west. So we're looking with the wind. The wind is blowing from the northeast right now, from an easterly direction, and the palm tree blowing in that direction here. But I can tell you, a lot of wave action going on there just off the coast, 30-foot waves just offshore, and that's going to cause some problems when it comes to the coastal flooding. So I want to talk about that, focus on that for just a minute here. We really haven't had an opportunity to discuss or to go really into detail. The Hurricane Center's tracked just to the west of Bermuda, so thinking the eye of this one's, the eye of it's probably going to pass over, but the center maybe just a little bit to the west, putting Bermuda square in to the worst of the impacts. So let's step through where we think our storm surge, our coastal flooding threat is the greatest. Now, that point that you were seeing, that was the naval dockyard there on the top end here, just going into Hamilton Harbor. That's where we're looking at that camera. The camera's, let's see, the camera's up in here, and it's looking basically in that direction right now, toward the Atlantic Ocean. And the areas that you're seeing shaded in red here are low-lying areas below 15 feet, and that's the areas, these are the areas that we have to watch for the potential flooding. It's the lower areas. The good part about Bermuda, look down here. The island comes up very quickly. I mean, you're talking probably 80-foot hills in this area down in parts of Southampton Parish, and this is Sandys Parish up here where the Royal Naval Dockyard is. But so it's really just the immediate coastline here. That's the good part of it. And I think at the storm surge, if you're going to get any storm surge, it's going to be greatest down here in the southern part of the island. Morgan's Point, you're going to be under the gun for some potential coastal flooding. We're talking about 10-foot combination of waves and storm surge that are going to be impacting these areas. Not immediately. See, the wind direction right now is blowing basically, let's see here, from the northeast, so sort of in this direction right now. So it's really the east facing coastlines right now. I'm sorry, the west-facing coastlines. The winds are doing this. So the west-facing coastlines for the time being, but the water is really going to start piling up once they get to the back part of the storm. Once it pushes by, that's when the water is really going to start filtering in here to Hamilton Harbor. And this is the area that I'm really most focused on. And talking to officials there in Bermuda, they're really concerned here just to the west of Hamilton. You can see this area very, very low-lying, and their main Bermuda Electric Company, or the electric power company, Belco, right in here, very low-lying spot. That's an area we're going to want to focus, keep an eye on. Also, a little further up the island, we got to watch for the causeway here. They had serious problems. The causeway was destroyed in Fabian back in 2003. Certainly, we could see some problems there. So really, everybody today under the gun for potential storm surge threat. Really quickly, I want to update you on now Hurricane Ana. We'll show you the track here coming up at the top of the hour. This is 75-mile-per-hour hurricane just to the south of Honolulu. The good part of this is the forecast shifting just a little bit to the west to the south of Hawaii. Paul, back to you.
Thanks, Michael. We're back in 60 seconds tracking Hurricane Gonzalo. The rain, the wind, and the waves are slamming the island right now. We'll get an update from the ground coming up right after your local on the 8s.
Currently in our area, 80 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, mostly clear, low 66. Winds light and variable. Saturday, generally sunny, high 84. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Well, breaking news right now. Conditions are bad and only getting worse in Bermuda. You're looking live as hurricane force winds batter Commissioner's Point, and we have extensive coverage of Hurricane Gonzalo on a special edition of Weather Center Live.
Live from the Weather Channel headquarters in Atlanta, you're watching Hurricane Central.
We're now at the top of the hour, and the center of Hurricane Gonzalo is closing in on the tiny island nation of Bermuda. But as you can see from this satellite image, well, this storm is huge, and its impacts, well, they will be felt for several more hours. Thanks for joining us. I'm Paul Goodlow. The National Hurricane Center put it bluntly: expect damaging winds and life-threatening storm surge from this hurricane. Let's take a live look right now at Bermuda, and conditions on the ground there are pretty much deplorable. Hard to see. This camera is moving around, but definitely you're starting to see things blowing around. And we have a huge wind field with this system. Winds at now sustained in that 45, 55, 65 mile per hour range. Wind gusts have been 85 over 100 miles per hour, and that's because the center continues to get closer and closer to making landfall. In fact, the NAS advisory said that the actual northern eye wall of Hurricane Gonzalo is now starting to make landfall on the island of Bermuda. And the Weather Channel's team of experts, they've been following this hurricane for several days. Hurricane specialist Michael Lowry now joins us from the lab. And Michael, it looks like that northern eye wall bearing down on Bermuda right now. They're in the teeth of it right now, Paul. The next few hours is going to be the worst, and then they're going to get sort of a rain-free part of this hurricane. Let's show you where we're talking about this on our globe. In Bermuda, just now making landfall, say about, I don't know, probably about 30, 40 miles now, just to the south of Bermuda. I want to show you this visible picture because here's what's happening. Is you have a Category 3 hurricane, a major hurricane in terms of the wind damage potential, and we're losing our sunlight. It's getting dark there. And so not only that, the power is going out. So we got a lot of people that are in harm's way here, and it's going to be a very, very scary evening when you have 100+ mile per hour winds that are just beating at you for hours on end. And that's what we're kind of forecasting, expecting through the evening hours. Here's what it looks like on the radar picture. The Hurricane Center is now confirming that the southern part of Bermuda in the outer eye wall, just getting in the northern eye wall of this very, very dangerous hurricane. This is what you're seeing right here. See that little strip of the yellows and some of the reds. This is really the worst part of a hurricane. The northeast side of a hurricane is the worst part. The winds are the strongest. The potential for tornadoes is there, and generally that's highest in the northeast part of the northeastern quadrant. Also, because of those very strong winds, the coastal flooding is going to be worse. Remember, counterclockwise flow, so you have easterly winds right now affecting a lot of this, a lot of the islands here, a lot of the different areas of the island, different parishes going from north to south. And the eye itself, the center of it, right in here. You can see this this ring here. That's 50 miles from Bermuda. This moving off toward the northeast, generally at about 16 miles per hour. Now you're going to hit this sort of
area of, it's not going to be exactly a cloud-free area. It's not a perfect eye. So you're going to maybe get some winds in there. You're going to maybe get some rain, but the winds are going to come down quite a bit, say maybe in 2 hours there. If you're hunkered down, I don't know if anyone's listening to us out there or if you're in contact with friends and relatives out there, but this is not a part of the storm that you want to go out in. The eye of the storm, it's the calm of the storm. Everyone wants to go outside and see what's happening, but the worst of the weather is right around that eye. So you're going to get the backside of the storm where you're going to see hurricane force conditions yet again in the exact opposite direction. The winds will turn 180 degrees. Here's a water vapor picture. This is what's happening, sort of the flow and the water content at the mid to upper part of the atmosphere. And you look off to the west of it, all these orange colors here, that's a lot of dry air. There's a dip in the jet stream that's picked this up, and it is accelerating it off to the northeast. One bad thing, even though the winds have come down, at least the maximum strength of the winds have come down, the breadth of those winds, the extent of the winds, the size of the hurricane has actually increased, tripled actually in its size since yesterday at this time. So this is a very big storm. The video on your left, I'm going to show you where that is. That's looking toward the causeway. That's from our friend Mark Sudduth that's down in here. So he's looking toward the east in that direction, and you can see how the waves, this was taken earlier, how the waves already battering, and actually where he is kind of protected. The causeway is sort of taking the brunt of it. The causeway is right here, so the winds and the water hitting up against the causeway, and he's on the back side of that. He's sort of in a protected area. So I guarantee you right now they are getting some ferocious winds and waves there beating up against that causeway. This is a causeway that was destroyed by Hurricane Fabian back in 2003. There's a temporary causeway that's being built. Now in Fabian, there was sort of a series of bridges across this causeway. It's a little faint. If you look very closely at your screen, you can see at the very end of your screen that causeway. There's a temporary causeway that was built after Fabian. That is rock and sand and gravel, some sort of leftover land. So it's a little bit hardened, but there's also a bridge that connects Hamilton to the airport, a very vital link for this. So we're paying very close attention to that causeway. No reports yet in terms of the damage there, but we'll sure be in touch with Mark throughout the evening. I want to talk about some of the wind reports that I'm getting. Over here, Commissioner's Point, we're getting a wind gust. Now, this is from Bermuda Weather Service of 123 miles per hour there at Commissioner's Point, which we were showing earlier. That's incredible if that's an accurate report. And sustained winds definitely above hurricane force, above 74 miles per hour. Up here in the north part of the island, St. George's, we were talking to a gentleman there from the Bermuda Weather Service earlier that was confirming that St. George's up at elevation about 150 or 200 feet. They're gusting to 120. I'm sorry, I'll take that back. They're gusting to 110 miles per hour up there at St. George's Island. So getting strong wind gusts across the island. The winds that we're reporting so far have been sustained winds at the surface, but most of the interior part of the island is pretty hilly, 80 to 100 feet. So the winds there could be 20 plus miles per hour higher than they are at the surface. We want people to go up in elevation. I can't tell where this camera is looking, Peyton, if you know where this is. Looks like it's down toward the south, toward the water. But in any event, you want people to get away from the water, get away from the coastal flooding pall, but you don't want to go too high because of those very dangerous winds. All right, a lot going on tonight. We'll have the very latest throughout this show. Paul, back to you.
All right, thanks, Michael. Here's the very latest information coming out of Bermuda. The storm is over the island pretty much right now with life-threatening storm surge quite possible. There is an extremely rare event going on here with Gonzalo affecting the island just 5 days after Tropical Storm Faye did. Though Gonzalo will have much more significant impacts over the next several hours.
When your house loses power, it can be tough for your family. But not if your family has a Kohler generator. Restores power automatically in as little as 10 seconds and is backed by a 5-year limited warranty. Kohler generators. Keep your family flowing.
When the power goes out, you'll go on. Contact your Kohler Generators dealer today.
My family, we're close. Sometimes too close, which means we're always getting into each other's hair. That's why we use Head & Shoulders. Keeps us 100% flake-free and smells gorgeous. I use it. My whole world uses it. Head & Shoulders now smells better than ever.
Lowe's presents How to Say Goodbye to 1993 Forever. Goodbye.
Hurry into Lowe's and get Stainmaster carpet installed free by Thanksgiving.
Sunday nights, the Weather Channel unravels nature's darkest secrets. Every Sunday, a new tale of weather legend.
It may have just looked like a storm, but they were dealing with something far worse.
American Supernatural. Sunday nights at 10 on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 80 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, mostly clear, low 66. Winds light and variable. Saturday, generally sunny, high 84. Here's our 7-day outlook.
This Sunday night on the Weather Channel, you'll never know how twisted weather can be. Wicked Weather Sundays, every Sunday night at 9 on the Weather Channel.
Get up to 20% off and 1,000 rewards points at bestwestern.com with a swipe, a tap, or a click. Get up to 20% off and enjoy breakfast, free high-speed internet, and 1,000 rewards points. Only at bestwestern.com.
Andrew, Rita, Sandy. Meet Chris, Jackie, Joe. Minor damage or major disaster. When you need us most, we're there. State Farm. We're a force of nature, too.
Apples are good. As Strongbow hard cider, better. But Strongbow over ice is the best. Enjoying Strongbow over ice with your slow-motion horse? The bestest. Strongbow, world's #1 hard cider.
So, I need a new fall coat. And I said go to Burlington because we're beauties on a budget. Burlington has everything. Coats, scarves, hats. And the prices are amazing. If you want style and value, Burlington is the place.
Conditions have been deteriorating here since early this afternoon as Hurricane Gonzalo is now passing just to our west as a Category 3 hurricane. It will pick up speed as we go into tonight. After midnight, we should start to see conditions improve as this storm races off to the north and east.
And that's NBC's Dylan Dreyer riding out the storm, the hurricane in Bermuda right now. We'll get another update from her coming up in about 10 minutes. We're also in extended coverage this evening tracking Hurricane Gonzalo. The hurricane now is nearing Bermuda, making landfall over the next several hours, and conditions have rapidly gone downhill as we went through this evening. And joining me now via Skype is the Weather Channel's Peter Neely, Senior Vice President of Global Forecasting. And Peter, I know the conditions have changed a whole lot, but it seems like you guys are pretty close to, or perhaps even in the northern eye wall right now. What are you experiencing?
Yeah, I think we basically are in the eye wall. It's a bit of a ragged eye wall, not well distinguished as some hurricanes are, but we are absolutely having winds that are gusting near 100 miles an hour. I'm in a little protective enclave right here, but 10, 15 feet behind me, the winds are probably in the sustained 75 miles an hour, gusting to 100.
Peter, even though his signal going on, again, he is joining us via Skype from Bermuda, and even his picture now is starting to go out a little bit. But that's because, again, the northern eye wall of Hurricane Gonzalo is bearing down upon the island right now. Latest numbers we have in from the power company there in Bermuda is 22,000 people without power, 22,000 customers without power. And Peter, I think we have you back now. Are you there with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Or maybe not. But you can see even in that picture there, it looks like there's some flashing lights. Peter, are you with us?
I'm still here.
Okay. Do you still have power where you are?
For some miracle, we have power here, but every place I can see around has lost power.
The latest numbers we have in is, I guess, 22,000 customers. That's out of 35,500. That's 62% of the island are customers now without power right now. That is Peter McNeely. We'll check back in with him coming up. But I got to remember, we got a hurricane bearing down upon him right now, so communication is spotty at best. Well, again, we're still tracking what's going on with Gonzalo as it continues to bear down upon that island of Bermuda, and we're covering every angle of this hurricane, especially the human aspect. And people and tourists themselves are riding out this island on the hurricane on this tiny island. And Dave Malkoff joins me now with a look at what's being posted to social media with people sharing their experiences as they ride out this hurricane.
Yeah, Paul, it's a miracle that Peter can even get that signal out. If you think of all the things that have to come in place, you have to have power, battery to your computer. You have to have a cell signal that is up and running. That is a streaming video type of cell signal, so you also have to have the data on that. So it does look like those things are still up and running, even though you have 22,000 people without power on the island, a large percentage of the people who actually live there. Let's take a look at some of the video that we are seeing coming in on social media, and you can see this one where it was before the sunset, and you can see a bit of the sideways rain coming across. This is on the southern portion of the island. Over by the airport, there is another problem happening right now. We just heard about this from the newspaper on the island, that there was a middle-aged man who was trying to live inside of his boat moored to the dock there near the airport. Two teams had to come and pull him out of there. Not a smart thing to do, because sometimes those crews won't come out, Paul, not when the wind is this heavy.
Yeah, too dangerous for the crews, the rescue crews themselves. All right, thanks, Dave. Well, Gonzalo is our big story right now as the dangerous hurricane continues to make landfall on Bermuda. But we also have important updates to tell you about in terms of Hurricane Ana now tracking towards Hawaii. We'll talk.
So I was a head chef at 24. I won Best New Restaurant in the Country at 31. I've published cookbooks. I've been on TV. I've relied on people every step of the way. I still do. I have to. So staying connected to those people, that's what makes me feel accomplished. They're people I connect with, that I'd sit at a table with. These are the people that I ride with every day.
To kill germs deep in my mouth, I used to think a mouthwash had to burn. Then I went pro with Crest Pro Health mouthwash.
It's scientifically proven to kill 99% of germs, so you move to a healthier mouth from day one.
No pain, all gain.
Go pro with Crest Pro Health.
Fatherhood. Lesson number 1.
Deep sea delight.
Pregnant wives have late-night cravings.
The ice cream, please.
Lesson number 2.
Thank you.
Make sure you get her ice cream in a cup with a lid.
That's why you want accident forgiveness from Allstate. It keeps your rates from going up just because of an accident. Plus, when you switch today, you could save up to 10% more on your auto policy.
Just a few more ways. The good hands are doing more than ever before.
Call 866-532-0707 now.
Here at High Acres, we always say life is better on the farm. And that's because we love what we do, which is growing the best tasting fruit available. After months of nurturing, our orchards are bursting with crispy, delicious apples. And we can't wait for you to taste them. That's why we work with Walmart. They help us deliver some of the freshest apples available, backed by their 100% money-back guarantee.
Picked by farmers, guaranteed by us.
Listen up, Thunder Dragons. It's time to get a hotel.
Hey, Razor, check this out. We can save big with Priceline Express deals.
You know what, man? These guys ain't no dragons. They're cool. These deals are legit.
Yeah, we're cool.
She's cool. We're cool.
Apples are good. As Strongbow hard cider, better. But Strongbow over ice is the best. Enjoying Strongbow over ice with your slow motion horse, the bestest. Strongbow, world's #1 hard cider.
You're going to want to watch 7 a.m. on AMHQ.
This is a big weather morning.
The biggest weather hour anywhere. What you watch in the morning matters.
It's your weather geek.
From the very minute you have this idea that you want to be in business, you need to have that card.
Presentation is everything, because they're not only first impression of you, but now you're handing them this product that really is kind of going to define your business in their mind pretty quickly.
You want a very thick card that feels nice in your client's hand.
I think it's nice to have a choice because sometimes you want a glossy card, but for other projects, I don't necessarily want all that.
Your business card is a reflection of you. It should say exactly what you want. With a range of designs, stock, and finish options at Vistaprint, it will. Get 500 business cards starting at just $9.99. Enter promo code TV500 at Vistaprint.com. And for bonus offers, text TV to 70702.
That business card, when I make a connection with someone, has to be phenomenal. It has to be elegant and invoke all the things that Diamond stands for.
Just that professionalism is going to make you, as a business owner, more successful just right off the bat.
Vistaprint.com.
At 1-800-967-2350. The savings could really add up.
Every Sunday, a new tale of weather legend. American Supernatural, Sunday nights at 10 on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 80 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, mostly clear, low 66. Winds light and variable. Saturday, generally sunny, high 84. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Welcome back. We have a team of meteorologists tracking Gonzalo and analyzing the data. But the best way to understand what's happening is to see the conditions right now on the ground. NBC's Dylan Dreyer is reporting for us tonight in Bermuda. Dylan?
Hurricane Gonzalo has been bearing down on Bermuda. It is a Category 3 hurricane as it is crossing just to our west. It is so close right now that the surf is starting to come up. Winds have already gusted on the island upwards of around 101 miles per hour, but the eye wall is expected to make its way in as we go into the next couple of hours. So we will see even higher wind gusts. Sustained winds will be up around 115 miles per hour. We've gotten reports of wave heights already in excess of 40 feet high. So we are in the thick of it right now as Hurricane Gonzalo makes its way onshore. So we are going to continue to watch things here. We've already lost power at our hotel, but the generator is up and running. We're actually in a very protected area here, and you have to go out on the eastern side of the island. That's where we're seeing some of our strongest wind gusts, and we could also end up with most of our flooding. But 13,000 people are without power on the island so far. About 36,000 people were without power during Faye. So we'll have to see how the power lines manage this event as it is just really getting underway. So conditions will continue to deteriorate over the next few hours, and of course we will play it safe here in Bermuda. Back to you.
Well, every now and then we get to show off some pretty awesome images we get in, like these, a view from above showing Hurricane Gonzalo, a powerful Category 3 hurricane. These were taken from the International Space Station and tweeted out by NASA astronaut Alex Gerst. He's aboard the International Space Station. Now, the photos show Gonzalo as it was moving over the Caribbean Sea and then eventually pushing out towards the Atlantic. And now it's pretty much making landfall in Bermuda and it's getting closer and closer. Let me show you what's going on here in our tropical update right now with Gonzalo. Again, a major hurricane, talking about a Category 3 hurricane, sustained winds 115 miles per hour. Look at the pressure though, 951. That's a pretty low pressure. Typically the pressure and wind speeds are at a seesaw or an inverse relationship. Pressure goes down, winds go up. That's what's been going on. But the good news is the winds have been going down a little bit from a Category 4 yesterday now to a Category 3. But look at the center of Gonzalo, getting pretty close to Bermuda right now. As of 6 o'clock, it's around 40 miles, but it's probably a little closer as well. Kind of hard to see this. I'm going to zoom on in here to show you where Bermuda is. You're kind of starting to see some of the island right there. It's basically the width of the letter M. And look how close that northern eye wall is. It's pretty much skirting or almost making landfall, or if it's not, it will pretty soon. I've measured roughly about 17 miles from the southern tip of the island to the heart, the meat of that northern eye wall there. So if you're in this right now, you're in it for a while, and there's still the southern side to get through. Now, this radar is from the Bermuda Weather Service. Thank you for letting us use this. And these rings, this is the 80-kilometer ring here, basically 50 miles. So 50 miles south of the island, that's the center of circulation according to the radar, but that northern eye wall is pretty much easily within 20 miles of the island right now. So yeah, the conditions are pretty bad and might even get even worse as we head over the next couple of hours. And then you have to get to the backside of this island, which also could be as bad as it is right now. Reports of wind gusts, sustained winds in between 37 and 59 to 60 miles per hour. Now the wind gusts, some of those have been reported. I think at Governor's Port, we're talking 123 mile per hour wind gust. Now here's the thing. Now if you're in the U.S., you have a lot of friction, trees and other things to slow the wind down. You're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. There's nothing slowing this down, so you're getting the full force of Hurricane Gonzalo right now on Bermuda. In fact, look at some of the wave heights. Again, the waves are generated by the winds. This is a huge wind field as well. So well to the south of Bermuda, 20-plus foot waves. Now some of those are getting closer and closer as Gonzalo is getting closer and closer. The forecast calls for pretty much a direct hit, if not a pretty near miss, a very close near miss here as we head through the next several hours. Then it continues to push away from Bermuda, and your weather conditions, as Dylan said, should be improving as we head past midnight. Now, from the Atlantic to the Pacific, this is Hurricane Ana here, and the good news with this is it's a little bit smaller than Gonzalo, but it's also forecasted to stay south of the islands. Again, 75 mile per hour wind right now, moving west-northwest at 14 miles per hour, and we also have tropical storm watches up for all the islands. We do not expect a direct hit. It's going to be a near miss here, but also we're going to see some and feel some impacts. The waves and the wind with this system, and it should stay just the south. Already winds now sustained in that 15 to 25 mile per hour range. We're back with more after this.
Apples are good. As Strongbow hard cider, better. But Strongbow over ice is the best. Enjoying Strongbow over ice with your slow motion horse, the bestest. Strongbow, world's #1 hard cider.
At the end of the day, my hands are beat up.
Especially during the winter times, hands are splitting, cracking, making it very difficult to do my job.
O'Keefe's Working Hands. Guaranteed relief for dry hands that crack and split.
Best stuff we've ever used.
It just works.
Learn more at workinghands.com.
Maybe you didn't know, people with the flu can spread it up to 6 feet away. Or that flu can make chronic conditions worse. Maybe you didn't know any of the stuff your Rite Aid pharmacist knows. But now that you've gotten your flu shot at Rite Aid, maybe you don't need to.
Making coffee?
Yeah, enough for 2.
Try 4, buddy.
I'll take a dark roast.
Chai tea, please.
Honey, text the man what you want.
French vanilla. Make it strong.
The all-new Keurig 2.0 is here. Brew for one, brew for all.
When he first joined the Army, I was very nervous.
We didn't know what they would have him doing. But Bobby always had a plan.
With unmatched training in over 150 careers beyond the battlefield, there are over 150 surprising ways to become Army strong. Talk to your son or daughter about opportunities in the Army.
You owned your car for 4 years. You named it Brad. You loved Brad, and then you totaled him. You two had been through everything together. 2 boyfriends, 3 jobs. You're like, nothing can replace Brad. Then Liberty Mutual calls, and you break into your happy dance.
If you sign up for Better Car Replacement, we'll pay for a car that's a model year newer with 15,000 fewer miles than your old one. See car insurance in a whole new light. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
We're new to the Pacific Northwest. The rain, the mud, but bam, it's there. The outside comes in. It's a Swiffer wet jet. Oh, I love this. I could do this every day. Ugh. Sunshine is overrated. Now Now we can get messy.
This is a map of the pressure points on my feet.
I had flat feet. I learned where the stress was at the Dr. Scholl's Foot Mapping Center. Then I got my number, which matched the custom fit orthotic inserts with the right support.
Go to drscholls.com for locations and save $10.
I'm a believer.
It's just freaking me out.
If you miss this Sunday night on the Weather Channel,
this is crazy.
You'll never know how twisted weather can be.
Is it real? Yeah, it's real.
Wicked Weather Sundays with strangest weather on Earth and American Supernatural. Every Sunday night at 9, only on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 80 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, mostly clear, low 66. Winds light and variable. Saturday, generally sunny, high 84. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Every Sunday, a new tale of weather legend. American Supernatural, Sunday nights at 10 on the Weather Channel.
Live from the Weather Channel headquarters in Atlanta, you're watching Hurricane Central.
A brand new video coming in to us from Bermuda. Check out those power lines here. Yeah, waving in the wind. Winds gusting more than 100 miles per hour have been reported. And in fact, 62% of the island is now without power because of Hurricane Gonzalo. Well, it's nighttime now in Bermuda. We want to show you the live camera one more time. We've been watching. Yeah, the sun is set. It's very difficult to see. This is out at Commissioner's Point, and that is where they recorded between 123 and 127 mile per hour wind gust. That's actually a flagpole there in the foreground. That is kind of blowing in the wind here. Let's show you a little before and after what it was like here. Again, you can see Commissioner's Point there on the left. Earlier today, look at the palm trees. They're also blowing in the wind. And now, the live picture on the right, it is dark, difficult to see. In fact, even a couple of hours ago, when the sun was still up, it was still difficult to see because of how heavy that rain was falling and how the wind was blowing that rain as well. Let's get the very latest on Hurricane Gonzalo. It is still a very dangerous situation ongoing right now as it approaches landfall here in Bermuda. As of 6 o'clock, they say the center is 40 miles south-southwest of Bermuda, moving north-northeast at 16 miles per hour. Wind still at 115 miles per hour. I want to show you where it is right now. It's looking like it's pretty much on Bermuda. I want to zoom in to give you a better look at how tiny Bermuda is in comparison to this. Now you're starting to see the island. It's basically between the M and the U here, and closer still, that's where it is. And we're pretty much in the northern eye wall. We're in the thick of this right now of Gonzalo here in Bermuda, and it will only get worse and not really improve for a while. Now, we're talking close to the southern end. The northern end, the farthest from the center, we still have sustained winds around 60 miles per hour at the airport. Again, reported gusts up to 127 miles per hour with this system. And it's the strong winds which create these huge waves which are now lashing that island. 20 to 30-foot waves happened in the past with Fabian. Expected now also with Gonzalo to batter this island. Now, in terms of, is there any chance this will directly impact the U.S.? Not directly, indirectly, all those waves will make it to the East Coast, but the same system brought severe weather in, 30-plus tornadoes to the southeast. That system, rain to New England yesterday, that's pushing offshore. That's taking Gonzalo and pushing it away from the East Coast of the U.S. Unfortunately, it's also bringing it right across Bermuda right now. So the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center does take Gonzalo pretty much right over Bermuda and then moves it away. So as we head towards first light tomorrow, things a lot better across that island, but we still have to get through the rest of this evening dealing with a landfalling hurricane, Hurricane Gonzalo. Let's get more on Hurricane Gonzalo. Check in with our hurricane specialist, Michael Lowry, and the hurricane hunters. They're still out there reconning.
Yeah, they are, Paul. And as you were saying, some tremendous gusts in this hurricane. 120 mile per hour gusts at Commissioner's Point, St. David's Island, which is very close to the airport, gusting to 125 miles per hour. That is near Category 4 strength gusts. And the reason for this is a lot of the island sits at elevation, say 80, 100, 200 feet in some cases above sea level. As you go up into the atmosphere, the winds increase. It's not something in the hurricane zone. Generally along our coast, especially the Gulf Coast, we sit pretty low, so we don't have to worry about those gusts. But the gusts are a big part of this story. 22,000 people are without power. They're in the dark. We were losing our daylight. It's going to be a really scary few hours for folks there, and the Weather Service, the officials there, please urging everybody not to go outside because the light wind part of the hurricane are going to be on shore here within the next few hours, but then they're going to get the backside of this with those hurricane force winds roaring onshore from the opposite direction, from the westerly direction rather than from the easterly direction. As Paul was saying, we have the hurricane hunters out there. We don't have information over the ocean like we do here over land, and so the Hurricane Center, the National Hurricane Center, relies on these hurricane hunters, these fleet of airplanes that fly literally right into the eye of the storm. And what you're looking at are the 3 planes that usually fly into these. That picture that you're seeing there, that is from the NOAA propeller plane, the P3 plane. It's about 10,000 feet above the surface of the ocean. This is looking down on Hurricane Gonzalo. Earlier this afternoon, they tweeted this one out and posted it on their Facebook page. Very bumpy ride for them. They were out there all afternoon. They have since gone back to their home base in Tampa, Florida. And now there's an Air Force plane that took off from Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi that is out there in the middle of the storm. And all of that information, when they're literally in the eye of this hurricane, we're getting that live in real time, exclusive to the Weather Channel. You're not going to find this anywhere else. And we can bring that to you. And that's what I want to show you right now. Here is that big Air Force plane. This is a cargo plane. I mean, they can take a beating, and they are really taking a beating with this hurricane. I want to show you where they took off from. This is Keesler Air Force Base, making a very long flight, 1,000 miles here over to where Gonzalo is. And again, flying around in there. And I tell you what, finding some really interesting information. So let's go through this and share it with you. What you're looking at with each one of these wind bars is an estimate of the winds at the surface of the ocean from the hurricane hunters. There's an instrument on the bottom of the aircraft. It looks down toward the surface of the ocean, which kind of resembles a washing machine when you're up there at very high altitudes, at say 10,000 feet. So it's turning up the ocean. You have all of these air bubbles. It looks at those air bubbles, and it can estimate the winds from the air bubbles on the surface of the ocean. Pretty cool stuff. What they were finding, though, is look at this. See, anything in the orange is Category 3. Most of these observations, especially over here, notice they're below Category 3 strength, which makes you wonder, well, why did they keep this a Category 3 hurricane? The current winds in there are 115 miles per hour, as estimated by the National Hurricane Center. This is only one piece of the puzzle, guys. The flight level winds, the winds at about 10,000 feet, about 130 plus miles per hour. And some of those winds working their way down to the surface of the ocean in these thunderstorms that develop. So, Paul, these thunderstorms that are coming on shore, they're producing some really just impressive, awesome gusts. We're going to talk to somebody from the Bermuda Weather Service about this information and what they're seeing on their end coming up, say, in about 20 minutes. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Michael. Also aware that the Bermuda Weather Service is going to attempt to launch a weather balloon into the eye if that eye does track over the island, which is forecast to do. Thanks, Michael. We're going to continue updates on the ground in Bermuda. Right now, Mark Sudduth with HurricaneTrack.com is there. And Mark, this is definitely the kind of eye wall time here right now in Bermuda. What are you experiencing? I know you're on the northwest side of the island, or northeast side of the island, and I know we had wind reports of 120, 125 miles per hour. What have you been seeing?
Hopefully my audio will hold up. I'm going to open the door to the back of my room. You can hear, it sounds like I'm in a car wash. It is unbelievable. I'm going to close the door back so we don't do that the whole time. That's what it's like. It's loud. You can't see anything. The building is shuddering, and the ocean is being blasted onto the island here by these winds coming across that bay. That's the Atlantic Ocean out there, and it is all just raging and unleashed.
And Mark, I know you also, when you chase hurricanes like this, you set up technology, information to gather data on the storm. What have you set up, and what kind of numbers have you been getting?
I appreciate you asking that. That's going to be really important. Now, even though it went offline and we're not able to see it, we know that it is recording onto the laptop, and we're recording those measurements every single minute of this hurricane. When it's over and I go back to the house that the gentleman let me put it on his roof, we are going to have exceptional high-density, high-frequency wind data. We can't see it live right now. It stopped a couple of hours ago, unfortunately. But when this is over, to be able to dissect it and see what that wind and the pressure, too, I am really looking forward to that from the science perspective.
All right, thanks. That is Mark Sudduth with HurricaneTrack.com. Well, Bermuda does know hurricanes. They have a history with it. In fact, it's just the latest in a long line of major hurricanes that impact the island. We'll take a look back at the history coming up after this.
Currently in our area, 79 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, mostly clear, low 66. Winds light and variable. Saturday, generally sunny, high 84. Here's our 7-day outlook.
With breath-freshening, cooling crystals. Icebreakers.
I had an opportunity to interview for this amazing job, and I immediately thought Burlington. They have great suits, shoes, bags, everything I needed at a really, really good price. I saved so much on the suit, I went crazy and bought 3 outfits. I got my suit, and I got the job.
Need new tires? Right now at Pep Boys, when you buy 3 select tires, you get the 4th tire free, instantly. Plus, get 6 months special financing on purchases of $199 or more. Trust the boys to get you there.
How did I set a new personal record today? I started with a test run. Then I got a solid night's rest in a great room. And before I hit the road, I hit the breakfast bar, where I got my fuel for the next 26 miles.
Great endings begin here. That's why at Choice Hotels, we give you cozy rooms, free breakfast, and right now when you take 2 separate trips, you earn 1 night free. Book now at choicehotels.com.
Lowe's presents how to install a new washing machine with one finger.
Maybe a little more that way. Nice.
Now get 10% off all major appliances, $3.99 and above.
Apples are good. As Strongbow Hard Cider, better. But Strongbow over ice is the best. Enjoying Strongbow over ice with your slow-motion horse? The bestest. Strongbow, world's #1 hard cider.
She's still the one for you. And Cialis for daily use helps you be ready anytime the moment is right. Cialis is also the only daily ED tablet approved to treat symptoms of BPH, like needing to go frequently. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and medicines, and ask if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Do not drink alcohol in excess. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, get medical help right away for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease or loss in hearing or vision, or any allergic reactions like rash, hives, swelling of the lips, tongue, or throat, or difficulty breathing or swallowing, stop taking Cialis and get medical help right away. Ask your doctor about Cialis for daily use and a free 30-tablet trial.
Ring, ring.
Progresso.
Used to people have my kids loving vegetables.
Well, vegetables taste better in our savory broth. Vegetables?
No, soup.
Oh, soup.
Loaded with vegetables, packed with taste.
Andrew.
Rita, Sandy. Meet Chris, Jackie, Joe. Minor damage or major disaster. When you need us most, we're there. State Farm. We're a force of nature, too.
I got one shot. Let's go twins right, 24 stretch.
24 stretch, all diamond. Twins right, 24 stretch. All diamonds on 2 ready.
When the game's on the line.
Hit them with a hard count. See if they'll tip their hand.
The NFL trusts Duracell Quantum to power their game day communication.
They're blitzing up the gut. Get out of the pocket.
Duracell Quantum lasts up to 35% longer than the competition.
Conditions have been deteriorating here since early this afternoon as Hurricane Gonzalo passes by as a Category 3 storm. Now, we will see improvements after midnight tonight as the storm picks up forward speed and starts to move to the north and east. But
that's NBC's Dylan Dreyer getting battered by the winds in Bermuda a short time ago before we lost the daylight. And the threat is far from over. In fact, we continue to track Hurricane Gonzalo. Let's get you updated on the strength of this hurricane right now. It's still a Category 3 hurricane. It gets closer and closer to Bermuda as we head over the next couple of hours, probably making landfall within the next 2 hours, if not sooner than that. Again, as of 6 o'clock, 40 miles south-southwest of Bermuda, but moving north-northeast at 16 miles per hour. So it's moving pretty quickly, and that center is pretty much to the eye wall, is getting close to the southern end of Bermuda. The actual center of the eye probably still offshore, but parts of the eye wall being impacted. And in terms of Bermuda right now, the airport reporting a sustained wind in tropical storm force range. That's 59 miles per hour, but a wind gusts, several have been reported well over 100 miles per hour. Because look at the graphics here. There's nothing slowing down this wind. It is straight off the ocean until bam, it slams into Bermuda, and that's where they're dealing with right now. And in terms of the history, well, we've had our fair share of major hurricanes in Bermuda since 1899. 10 Category 3 hurricanes or stronger have come within 75 miles of Bermuda. And take a look at this. This is what it looked like with Fabian in 2003. That hurricane was so strong the name actually was retired. And as Dave Schwartz shows us, it looks like Fabian and now Gonzalo are sharing some dangerous similarities.
With Category 3 strength winds, a 10-foot storm surge, and $300 million worth of damage. Hurricane Fabian in 2003 was the worst storm to hit Bermuda since the 1920s. Fast forward 11 years, and Bermuda could be in for a big hit again.
We think that Gonzalo has the potential to be very similar to Hurricane Fabian.
Inner core of strongest winds.
Wind speed could be very similar in this case. The top wind speeds were estimated in the case of Fabian because it actually knocked out the anemometer at the airport, but we think they were about 120 miles per hour, gusting to about 150 miles per hour. This storm is similarly very, very strong. It's probably not going to lose much as it makes landfall or gets close to making landfall, and so we could be talking about a similar intensity and therefore very similar impacts.
Impacts that left 4 people dead in Bermuda and left the island in shambles.
If the storm does in fact pass just west of the island, and we think there's a very good chance that it will, we're talking about tremendous impacts in terms of wind damage, structural damage, a lot of damage to vegetation on the island. Wave heights could be 20 to 30 feet. There could be a surge of maybe 10 feet, especially on the south side of the island, and that is what caused a lot of the damage in 2003.
With Fabian and Gonzalo following similar paths just 11 years apart, the hope is that many will remember how dangerous a hurricane can be.
There's no doubt that this is fresh in their minds. They're a little better prepared. They're thinking about what they need to do based on what they went through not that long ago. So I think hopefully we're going to be a little bit better off this time around.
Dave Schwartz, The Weather Channel.
Well, just 5 days ago, Sunday, you may remember Bermuda was hit by Tropical Storm Faye. This is what it looked like on the island there on Sunday morning. Now, Faye and Gonzalo are the closest back-to-back tropical cyclones to come within 75 miles of Bermuda on record. And it's not only the time that 2 tropical systems impacted Bermuda, even in the same week. Let's take it back to 1981 when we had Tropical Storm Emily just go to the north, and then we had Hurricane Floyd head to the south after, of course, it kind of skirted the U.S. coast coastline. Again, just went to the south of Bermuda. That was back in 1981. And we also mentioned that we did have Faye come by on Sunday and take a look at its path. It actually made a direct hit as a tropical storm on Bermuda on Sunday. And now if we have Gonzalo, which is probably a couple of hours from making its closest pass, perhaps even making a direct landfall on Bermuda. This will be the first time in recorded history that we've had 2 landfalls within a week of each other here on Bermuda. We'll have the complete tropical update coming up after this.
Here at High Acres, we always say life is better on the farm. And that's because we love what we do, which is growing the best tasting fruit available. After months of nurturing, our orchards are bursting with crispy, delicious apples, and we can't wait for you to taste them. That's why we work with Walmart. They help us deliver some of the freshest apples available, backed by their 100% money-back guarantee.
Picked by farmers, guaranteed by us.
We put all the apps you love inside a car designed to connect you to a world of possibilities. The Connected Car by Volvo, innovating for you.
You're going to want to watch 7 a.m. on AMHQ.
This is a big weather morning.
The biggest weather hour anywhere. What you watch in the morning matters.
Let's get weather geeky this morning.
Make AMHQ your morning show. America's morning headquarters. Weekday mornings starting live at 7 Eastern on the Weather Channel.
Every Sunday, a new tale of weather legend. American Supernatural. Sunday nights at 10 on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 79 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, mostly clear, low 66. Winds light and variable. Saturday, generally sunny, high 84. Here's our 7-day outlook.
At CVS Health, we took a deep breath and made the decision to quit selling cigarettes in our CVS pharmacies. Now we invite smokers to quit too with our comprehensive program. We just want to help everyone, everywhere, breathe a little easier. Introducing CVS Health, because health is everything.
On my journey across America, I've learned that when you ask someone in Texas if they want big savings on car insurance, it's a bit like asking if they want a big hat. Excuse me. Or a big steak. Or big hair. I think we have our answer. If I could separate the trio from what happened, find another day.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Apples are good, as Strongbow hard cider better. But Strongbow over ice is the best. Enjoying Strongbow over ice with your slow-motion horse, the bestest. Strongbow, world's #1 hard cider.
I have the worst cold with this runny nose. I better take something.
Dayquil Cold and Flu doesn't treat your runny nose.
Seriously?
Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold and Cough fights your worst cold symptoms plus your runny nose.
Oh, what a relief it is.
Listen up, Thunder Dragons. It's time to get a hotel.
Hey, Razor, check this out. We can save big with Priceline Express deals.
You know what, man? These guys ain't no dragons. They're cool. These deals are legit.
Yeah, we're cool. She's cool. We're cool.
Shake it through.
Sensitive bladder? Never miss a chance to dance. Introducing a revolution in bladder leak protection. New, always discreet. Up to 40% thinner for superior comfort. Absorbs 2 times more than you may need for dance all you want protection. No wonder more women already prefer new always discreet pads over Poise.
If I told you that a free 10-second test could mean less waiting for things like security backups and file downloads, you'd take that test, right? But what are you waiting for? You could literally be done with the test by now. Now you could have done it twice. This is awkward.
Go to ComcastBusiness.com/check-your-speed. If we can't offer faster speeds or save you money, we'll give you $150. Comcast Business. Built for business.
What are your neighbors doing?
Oh, are they gyrating?
Yeah?
Yeah. That's the no rain dance. They don't have Xfinity, so bad weather interferes with their satellite service.
It's a no rain dance. Wow.
You should see them on game days.
Looks like fun.
It's not.
Don't settle for outdated satellite. Get reliable TV service rain or shine with Xfinity.
50% with 5 screenings for $149. Call now at 800-393-7147.
7 a.m. on AMHQ.
Let's get you in front of today's weather.
The biggest weather hour anywhere.
What a gorgeous start.
Weekday mornings on the Weather Channel.
All right, thank you for sticking with us. Continuing coverage here on Hurricane Gonzalo as it bears down on Bermuda. They're getting right into the heart of this Category 3 hurricane right now. I want to show you our radar picture. These are from our friends out there at the Weather Service in Bermuda. The eye, the sort of rain-free light wind part of this just to the south of Bermuda. Look at this little band of red that's coming in over the island. They've been in the outer eye wall, and now they're really getting into the heart of this. 120+ mile-per-hour wind gusts are being reported there across parts of the islands on Commissioner's Point. St. David's Island also gusting to 125 miles per hour. Cell phone service is out throughout the island from what we're hearing. And I do want to bring in right now Kimberly Zuhl, who is Director of Bermuda's Weather Service, to talk a little more about this. Ms. Zuhl, thank you so much for joining us. I know you guys, it's a busy night there in Bermuda. Can you just update us on what's going on, what the latest power outages are, the latest weather conditions that you're seeing from your end?
Yeah, I could update you on the weather conditions. I have no information on the power outages. However, locally, as you did mention, we are on the northern side of the eye wall, and conditions did ramp up pretty dramatically. As you mentioned also, we've had gusts in excess of 110 knots on both ends of the island, and we're continuing to experience these conditions for the next maybe 45 minutes to an hour until we actually have the eye pass over Bermuda. We are broadcasting this as a direct hit. It doesn't matter whether the center's 10 miles or so to the west. It is a direct hit. We're being impacted dramatically by Hurricane Gonzalo.
And can you speak a little more about these wind gusts that you're seeing? I mean, 125 mile per hour wind gusts, that's about as strong of the winds as we've seen. Are these stations at elevation, or are they nearer to the surface?
Both of those are slightly elevated. One of it's slightly elevated, the other one is quite elevated. So Commissioner's Point is on top of a building, which is on top of a hill. And then we also have Bermuda Radio, which had 53 gusting 102, down from 70 gusting 109. Here at the airport, which we were in a bit of a, if you can say, lee in this situation, we had 55 gusting 75 right before we lost power to our runway sensors. So we do not have any information from the airport, but St. David's Lighthouse is just up the hill from where we are.
Now, you're urging residents right now, you're going to get into this sort of lighter wind area, the calm, as we call it, of the hurricane, urging residents to not go outside because they're going to get the backside of this shortly thereafter, really the worst conditions around that calm area of the hurricane. But you're sending somebody out with a balloon to collect some information. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, we have a balloon launch deck attached to this building, so it would take us literally like a couple of minutes to just sneak the balloon out and release it. We were unsuccessful with our 18 Zulu launch, and we really do want to get some good weather data from the center of Gonzalo.
Ms. Sewell, how are you guys handling? I mean, how is where you are? Are you in a protected area? How are things there at the Weather Service office?
The Weather Service is located at the airport, but we are fortunate enough to be on a hill located with the air traffic control tower. Here, the team, we've doubled up and we are provisioned. We've had our crew shift, and so half of the crew is very comfortable sleeping in our training room, and I even managed to make breakfast for everyone this morning. So we're okay here. And the building itself is an ex-US Navy building, so it's a very solid building.
That's great to hear. Hey, this is the director of the Bermuda Weather Service. I cannot thank you enough, Ms. Sewell, for all of the information that you're providing to us. It's been a tremendous help in taking time out of your very busy night for us. Thank you again.
No problem. My pleasure. Take care. All
right, thanks. That was Kimberly Zuhl, director of the Bermuda Weather Service. Paul, back to you.
All right, thanks, Michael. Hey, we're coming back in about 70 seconds, tracking Hurricane Gonzalo. The rain, the wind, the waves slamming the island right now. Landfall basically happening now over the next couple of hours.
Currently in our area, 78 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, mostly clear, low 66. Winds light and variable. Saturday, generally sunny, high 84. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Well, we have new video coming into the Weather Channel from Bermuda. This was recorded just about an hour or so ago. 22,000 customers are now without power. That equates to about 62% of that island. And you can see why. Look how strong those winds are, whipping the rain, also the palm trees around there as well. Reported stations are recording winds gusting more than 100 miles per hour, some even over 120 miles per hour.
Live from the Weather Channel headquarters in Atlanta, you're watching Hurricane Central.
It's the top of the hour right now, and the tiny country of Bermuda is in the eye of Hurricane Gonzalo, at least the eye wall right now. But as you can see from this satellite image, the storm, this hurricane is huge, and its impacts will be felt for several more hours, so it is far from being over at all. Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm Paul Goodlow. The National Hurricane Center put it bluntly. They expect damaging winds and life-threatening storm surge from Hurricane Gonzalo. And the Weather Channel's team of experts have been following this system since it was a storm to now a hurricane for several days. And our hurricane specialist, Michael Lowry, joins us now from the lab. And Michael, we just talked to the Weather Service there in Bermuda. They're saying they're basically in the eye wall right now.
They are. The worst of the weather is right smack over Bermuda. Let's show you where the storm is with our virtual globe. This is about 600-700 miles to the east of the United States. Category 3 hurricane, 115 mile per hour sustained winds, and those gusts, reported gusts, measured gusts there on Bermuda, even higher than that. Let's show you the visible satellite picture with the latest information. And this really kind of tells you the tale of what's happening right now to everybody in Bermuda. You see how it's getting dark? They're in the dark right now. We got 22,000 plus people that are without power. Basically, the sun has gone down, the power is out, and you have 120 plus mile per hour winds lashing at your door. It's a very scary evening there in Bermuda. This is the latest information from the Hurricane Center. They're giving us hourly updates so long as this is close to Bermuda within radar range. 25 miles to the south-southwest of Bermuda. The maximum winds, the worst of the winds, are about 30 miles away from the center. So this one the eye wall, the worst of the weather right over them being confirmed by the National Hurricane Center. Here's the radar out of Bermuda, out of the Weather Service office. As the director was saying, they're near the airport. I want to focus your attention or draw your attention to this area of red right in here. That is an awful little band that's coming onshore Bermuda right now. We've already had, again, 120-mile-per-hour winds that have already moved over the island, and you could get even stronger wind gusts at elevation, especially with this little red guy here, and also the tornadoes, embedded tornadoes. We have to watch for that as well. Here are some pictures from Bermuda. Again, it's dark there. It's very difficult for us to see where anything is, and it's difficult for everybody there, residents there, to really see where all of the debris is coming from. Again, the power is out. We're hearing cell phone service is out throughout the island, so people are no longer in touch with each other. It's a very, very scary situation for everybody there. Now, here's what's going to happen. All of this tremendous wind and rain, driving winds and rain, as Mark Sudduth was describing it earlier, it's kind of like being in a car wash and just not letting up for hours on end. What's going to happen is, you see this down here? That is the calm of the hurricane. That is the eye of the hurricane. That's going to be moving over Bermuda. As it does so, it's not going to be perfect. In other words, you're not going to look up and necessarily see the stars, but there are going to be a few clouds, but the winds are going to come down basically to very light, to say 10, 15 miles per hour. A lot of people have a tendency to want to go out right in the middle of the hurricane to kind of survey the damage and what's going on. It is a terrible time to go out in a hurricane, in the eye of the hurricane, because you see this on the backside. There's another ring of storms that's going to be moving in their direction, and you're going to get a wind shift. You're going to get a 180-degree wind shift. We had those winds coming directly from the east, and they're going to switch, and they're going to turn just like a light switch to the west. So the stuff that was blowing in the one direction is now going to be blown in the other direction. This is a direct hit. The eye is going to move right over Bermuda. Just absolutely incredible to have a 15-mile basically long island that's going to get hit by this hurricane in the middle of the entire Atlantic Ocean. It picks that place to hit. All right, here's the water vapor picture right now. Here's what's happening at the middle to upper part of the atmosphere. You have this dry air on the west side of the storm. This is associated with a dip in the jet stream. That is what's caught this right now. You can kind of see how the satellite presentation has degraded. That's weakened it a little bit. The maximum winds have gone down, but what happens when these storms begin to accelerate and get caught up by a dip in the jet stream or a trough is the breadth of the winds expand, all right? And that has significant impacts or implications on the coastal flooding and the storm surge. It's basically like if you were to take your finger and you were to try in a sort of a pool of water and then try to draw water with your finger and then take your arm and draw water with your arm, you're going to push a lot more water onshore with your arm than you are with your finger. That's basically the analogy for the wider wind field. We're expecting 10 feet or more of storm surge flooding along the coast, and it's not going to let up right as the eye is hitting. It's going to come in on the backside, and it's going to fill in those lagoons and those bays and the harbors. So this is really just a long duration event. Let's talk about the winds right now. We're on the phone. We're talking earlier. These wind reports, a lot of these are outdated, so take them with a grain of salt. This one's probably okay right now. Sustained winds of 76 miles per hour at the airport. That's sustained winds, and those gusts, I guarantee you, those gusts are even higher than that. Again, those winds are moving like this from a northeasterly direction right now, and they're going to turn as this moves by to a westerly direction. So the coastal flooding has really been on east-facing shorelines. These east-facing shorelines either in the harbor or exposed to the coastline there. As it flips, you're going to get flooding on the opposite side in some of these low-lying areas. Commissioner's Point here, we had a wind gust of 125 miles per hour. The gust is the big story here. A lot of the island, especially the interior part of the island that you're seeing here, 100-foot elevation. So people that are higher up are really getting winds that are much stronger than if you were sitting down at the surface of the ocean. Again, those wave and the impacts from the waves, 30-foot waves that are moving on shore, that's going to add on top of the storm surge to produce the coastal flooding. All of that, again, is pushing onshore as we speak across parts of Bermuda. All right, that's what's happening there. We haven't touched on Ana. I really do need to update everybody here really quickly at the top. Ana is a hurricane right now just to the south of Hawaii. It is moving off toward the west-northwest at 14. Some good news. All of our track models have shifted to the south. It looks like the core of this may miss the islands, but all of the islands right now in Hawaii are under a tropical storm watch, meaning tropical storm conditions are possible there over the next 36 to say 48 hours. Again, this is going to move to the south of them, so really I think just the tropical storm conditions. Here's the forecast track from the Central Pacific Hurricane Center looking at impacts possible this weekend, Paul. All right, that's it from here. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Michael. We have nonstop coverage, live coverage of Hurricane Gonzalo at this hour. In fact, a live update on the conditions from meteorologists on the ground on the island and how people are reacting to the storm on social media. And from one ocean to another, portions of Hawaii under a tropical storm watch as we're tracking Hurricane Ana. More on both next.
Dad, I know I haven't said this often enough, but thank you.
Thank you, Mom, for protecting my future.
Thank you for being my hero and my dad.
Military families are uniquely thankful for many things. The legacy of USAA Auto Insurance could be one of them. If you're a current or former military member or their family, get an auto insurance quote and see why 92% of our members plan to stay for life.
It's easy to buy insurance and forget about it. But the more you learn about your coverage, the more gaps you might find. Like how you thought you were covered for this.
Check it out, Mom.
When you're really only covered for this. Or how you figured you're covered for this when you're actually paying for this.
Danger.
You might be surprised at what's hiding in your coverage. Talk to farmers and get smarter about your insurance.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Call 1-800-FARMERS and see how much you could save.
Put on your thinking caps. Evaporation rate equals 700 times the mean temperature divided by 100 minus the latitude plus 15 times temperature minus dew point temperature divided by 80 minus temperature times millimeters per day. So easy, Sam. A caveman can do it. Got it? Great. There it is.
That is amazing.
Currently in our area, 78 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, mostly clear, low 66. Winds light and variable. Saturday, plentiful sunshine, high 84. Here's our 7-day outlook.
The wildest weather ever caught on camera.
Oh my God!
Tonight, tomorrow night, every weeknight, wild weather at 8. Coming up next.
Okay, Patrick, one more stop. Let's go base, shark, blitz. Base, shark, blitz.
When the game's on the line.
Okay, this is for the game.
The NFL trusts Duracell Quantum to power their game day communication.
Flag 19's on. Abort, he's keeping it.
Duracell Quantum lasts up to 35% longer than the competition.
You can search hotel sites for so long that your hair goes out of style. Or use Kayak to search hundreds of hotel sites to find the best deal in seconds. Kayak. Search one and done.
Apples are good. As Strongbow hard cider, better. But Strongbow over ice is the best. Enjoying Strongbow over ice with your slow-motion horse, the bestest. Strongbow, world's #1 hard cider.
Welcome back. We are in extended coverage tracking Hurricane Gonzalo approaching Bermuda right now. Conditions have rapidly gone downhill. They're probably at the peak of intensity right now. And joining me now via Skype is the Weather Channel's Peter Neely. He's the Senior Vice President of Global Forecasting. And Peter, you've moved inside, so exactly how bad is it outside right now?
Yeah, it was just getting too dangerous to be outside, even in the little enclave where I was reporting on earlier. There were pieces of plywood flying by and tons of debris, and I just had to come inside now.
And latest we heard is 29,000 customers without power. That's out of a total of 35,500. So we're closing in on 85% of the island in the dark. Does your hotel still have power?
Yeah, as you can see, the lights are on. I'm in the lobby of the hotel right now. The lights are on around me. We still have internet. I'm able to Skype with you. As I look outside, I don't see a single light anywhere. I have a very good vantage point here. I can see a good portion of northeast Bermuda, and I don't see a single light anymore.
Amazing. All right. Peter Neely now from the Weather Channel reporting live from Bermuda. Thanks, Peter. Well, residents and tourists alike are doing the only thing they can do, which is basically ride out this hurricane right now for the next several hours. In fact, NBC's Dylan Dreyer is riding it out, and she has the latest.
Angry seas erupted today as the massive Hurricane Gonzalo bears down on Bermuda. Damaging winds, 40-foot waves, and a dangerously high storm surge slamming the island. Looking at a map, Bermuda looks like the tiniest little speck out in the ocean. So how could it possibly stand up to such a huge storm? Well, imagine Bermuda like a stick in the water, and the water just simply goes around it, as opposed to that snowplow effect we're so used to on the United States coast. Most of Bermuda is shut down, and the police commissioner has ordered everyone inside and off the streets. For Sarah Mays Kleemeyer, that means taking